Hello everybody and welcome to Reviews That Don't Matter with Jessica Hitt. My name is Jessica Hitt and on today's episode we are talking Westworld. As you may have noticed, I decided to take Monday off because Tuesday was 4th of July. It was a government holiday weekend. I wanted to take some time off and know what I did yesterday on my 4th of July? I did nothing besides catch up on Game of Thrones and start Westworld. Now, I haven't seen all of Westworld. I've only seen the first 7 episodes, so I still have, or no, the first 8 episodes. I still have the penultimate and the finale ready for me, and I cannot wait to watch it. But I thought I'm going to review what I think about this show so far, and then on Friday, I will talk about what I thought about the finale. Now, if you don't know, Westworld is a show that came out close to about a year ago. I don't think it's been a full year on HBO, so it is one of those things where it's about 10 episodes long, an hour each, and it's like cinematic. It is almost like you're watching a movie. It feels long. I will say that every episode, I'm like, when is this gonna end? Like, this just feels like it's a movie. It keeps going on, which is not a bad thing. I'm just saying it does feel long because people are so used to like 45-minute episodes. These are full hours. The show stars Thandie Newton, Evan Rachel Wood, Jeffrey Wright, Ed Harris, Anthony Hopkins, James Marsden, Shannon Woodward, a whole bunch of people. This is a star-studded cast. It's a great cast. And basically the premise of this is that there is this sort of amusement park that is very expensive to get into. So typically you see a lot of rich folks going in there where you can kind of live in the Wild West. And they have these things called hosts, which are basically just robots. Well, they are just robots, but they are so human-like that it's impossible to tell really the difference. So human-like that it really has this gray line of like, this person is like a real person, but not a real person, and it's hard, weird to think about. It is weird to think about, I will say that. It's almost like an open world video game type thing where there's a whole bunch of different quests and missions and all these things that you can go on, or you can kind of just walk around and not do anything, depending on what you want to do with your time and your life. And also, only the hosts can die in Westworld. The guests that are coming cannot die. They can get hurt because the robots have punched people before, they've tackled people, they can't shoot you. I don't know if they could strangle or stab you. You know, that's kind of a gray line. I really wonder like how no robot has malfunctioned to kill another human being. I just can't believe that no one's died at the hands of a robot. Because robots, especially like I'm imagining in the early days of Westworld, would probably malfunction. And yes, I know, the first 3 years that they were at Westworld, it was just figuring out the robots and making sure that they weren't gonna ever harm anyone, blah blah blah. Still, it's a little unbelievable, especially when it's not like, I mean, I don't know if Westworld is in our reality but futuristic, or if it's in an alternate reality and still futuristic. Like, that's the thing, because I feel like people nowadays are already like, we've seen enough movies and TV shows about robots to know it doesn't end well. So I'm thinking this is an alternate reality where they don't have these things and they don't know that robots are probably going to try and murder us all. But let's take a second. When you think about it, would I rather have a zombie apocalypse, an alien invasion, or a robot takeover? I'm taking the robots every day. Like, every chance I get, I will take the robots over aliens and zombies. Because robots, we at least made them so we can destroy them, you know? Now back to Westworld. I actually really enjoy this show. I'm thoroughly excited to finish the season and get a second season. I cannot wait for that to start. And at first I wasn't sure what I was gonna feel about it because, you know, the first couple I'm like, are we just gonna be watching the same day repeat itself but slightly different, very Groundhog's Day-ish, depending on who we're following? And then it slowly branches out into following several of other people, whether it's like the makers or the hosts or the guests, which I really enjoy. And it's all this sort of interconnecting timeline and thread through it all, where in the end it's all going to make sense and be put together, I hope. And honestly, I don't find any part of the story uninteresting, because sometimes when you get a story like this where there's so many different little plots going on that all eventually will connect, hopefully, one of them might bore you. Like in Game of Thrones, I'm not the biggest fan of Arya's whole black and white assassin storyline anymore. You know, at first I didn't really care about Sansa, but now I really like her storyline. There's little things, the Dorne stuff, you just don't care about. And this one, I actually am really interested in all of them. The one I'm least interested in is sort of the guests coming in. You kind of have those two guests that come in, I think episode 3 or 4, that we follow through a lot of it, and they somehow get connected with Evan Rachel Wood's Dolores in it. And it's Ben Barnes and some other guy that I don't know the name of, but recognize the face. And the only reason I know Ben Barnes' name is because he is Prince Caspian in the Narnia movies, so love me some Prince Caspian. But even that gets so interesting when they finally hook up with the hosts and kind of going on this journey to find the maze, which is also what Ed Harris's character, this sort of evil cowboy who just murders pretty much everything, who eventually gets stuck with James Marsden's character, is also trying to find. And now what's so interesting is that Ed Harris's character, he was with this host named Lawrence for a while, and there's this moment where I'm gonna spoil a little bit, so if you haven't seen it or plan to, either forget what I'm about to say or forward past just like 20 seconds. Anyways, there's this moment where Ed Harris's character basically murders Lawrence's entire town, his mother, or not his mother, his wife, and threatens to murder his child, and then still takes him with him to eventually murder him later. And I get so attached to these robots. I'm just like, oh my god, they still feel all of this pain. They won't remember the next time they're reborn or re-put into their cycle or loop is what they call it. But still, like, to see it is like really harsh. And also the robots are starting to break out of their loop. They're starting to realize what they are. You know, Evan Rachel Wood's Dolores, and then we have Thandie Newton, who is my favorite in this entire show, her Maeve. And I'll tell you what, the best scene in this entire show, you know, I haven't really seen episode 9 or 10, is the scene where Maeve is walking through the sort of like factory area where all of the hosts get either put together, made, reprogrammed, recycled, and seeing really what it all is. It's amazing. There's no dialogue. They're playing some violin music in the background. It's gorgeous to watch. It's just chilling. It's so, oh, I gotta watch that scene again. I loved it so much. And then there's Anthony Hopkins, who plays this sort of really chilling, conniving, you don't know whether to believe him or to like him or not like him, creator of this Westworld, who has this mysterious partner, Arnold, who killed himself 3 years into the thing or whatever, and was like experimenting with putting more of a consciousness in the robots. Let's be real here. Arnold definitely isn't dead, and I think Anthony Hopkins is actually Arnold. I think Arnold killed the guy who was supposed to be Anthony Hopkins' character, I can't remember his name, and took his place and is just walking around trying to be like that, but I don't know. And it's really, that's not a far-fetched theory in this world, I feel like, you know? I feel like this could become like a mature Pretty Little Liars where there's gonna be all of these open threads and all of these crazy theories that aren't insane because the show is so crazy that it could possibly be true. And I kind of like that, you know? I do think that Westworld is very good at also like tying in these threads, whereas obviously Pretty Little Liars is not. I gave up the show because it was so frustrating to watch. And also a thing why I'm so like hooked onto the show is that every time something comes up, I can't help but think like, God, this park is so hard to run logistically. Like, having all of these little storylines, keeping track of everything, and then you have about 1,400 robots in the whole thing that you're keeping track of somehow, and some of them don't even interact with a person all day, depending on whether the guests go that far out of town, or if they take the quests, or if they leave the quest halfway through, like that. And then there's the whole fact where it's like, obviously you have all these rich people paying a crap ton of money. Think about the contracts they have to sign, the waivers they have to sign. How do they not like get hurt really in these? They've had to have been sued at some point. Like, come on, Westworld, they probably have like 50 pending lawsuits right now. Like, there's no way they're not in some kind of lawsuit. There's no way. And also, going into these last 2 episodes, I have no clue what's going on. I just found out a huge twist that was just like, never saw that coming, ever. Because you think you know who the hosts are, and they're not actually what they are, and it's just like, geez. And so, like, I just don't know how they're gonna end this season, if it's gonna be like a tight ending, or if it's gonna be completely open, loose threads ending, so that way they can do the 2nd season. I don't know if they knew they were gonna get a 2nd season, or if they knew they were gonna be this popular. I don't know. All I know is I'm gonna watch the second 2 episodes and wait for that 2nd season. So excited. It's one of the best shows I've seen in a really long time, probably since I first watched Stranger Things, so in about a year-ish. Okay, I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, comment down below, tell me what you guys think about Westworld. Do not give any spoilers. I will be super pissed if you do. Don't even try me right now. Also, if you like this review and you want more reviews like it, subscribe. I make reviews Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Next Friday, this Friday, will be a full spoiler review of the finale of Westworld, so stick in for that. Monday, you're gonna get Spider-Man Homecoming, so I will see you guys Friday, if not Monday, hopefully. Bye!